Hello, I'm Richard Winfield and I'm the author of the New Directors Handbook, and I'd like to answer a couple of questions that have been sent in from directors overseas. The first one comes from Pierre, who is based in New Zealand. Pierre says, I'm really frustrated. I've got a relatively strong chief executive, or actually, have I got a hands-off chairman? Now, this is a really important question to ask. What is the relationship between the chairman and the chief executive? What are the different roles of the chairman and the chief executive? And what is the power balance between the chairman and the chief executive? Now, it's generally accepted now, I think, that the chairman and the chief executive should be individual, different people, and it shouldn't be a shared role. Now, I have heard it said that the role of the chairman is to support fully the chief executive or to sack him. Now, I think that's really rather a simplistic approach. So what is the role of the chairman? The role of the chairman is to chair the board, to make sure the board functions well. What is the role of the chief executive? The role of the chief executive is to run the company. So how do those fit together? Well, the most important thing is that the board should set strategy. Even when the strategy is developed by the chief executive, the decisions are made by the board. And the board should then monitor and hold the executive accountable for fulfilling that strategy. So the main purpose of the board is to think about the future and to hold the executive to account. Now, there is another role for the chief executive in terms of the relationship with the chairman. It can be a very lonely business being the head of a business. And so the chairman can have a very important role as a sounding board for the chief executive. And also it is likely to have more experience to be a mentor. So I hope that helps Pierre. That talks about what we should have. So how does he go about it? Well, what I would suggest is that he has a meeting with the chairman and the chief executive together or apart and talks through how their roles should really work in this particular company. Because I think when the roles are more clear, and if the board, the individual directors on the board are aware and approve of the roles, then it will be much easier. I had a case years ago with a managing director who was very dominant and a bit of a micromanager. And he knew this. The members of the board complained about it, but I say the managing director was aware of it. So we set up a simple thing, and in those cases we had a little game. What we decided was, since it was agreed that the managing director was dominant, it would be therefore acceptable for members of the board to tell him when it was happening. And I set up a little thing that let's say, imagine you have a flag, and when you think that the managing director is dominating, you can pick up the flag and say, just a minute, I think you're being dominant. Because the relationship had been brought out into the open, then it was all fine, because it was just a matter of holding the managing director to account rather than grumbling or complaining or criticising. So I hope you found that useful. If you'd like to get a copy of the book, New Directors Handbook, then you will find contact and details on the next slide. You can either obtain 3 free chapters to have a look through, or you can buy the book immediately. Thank you.